You used to think that a strong country means a strong currency? Forget that. Behind the glamorous glow of booming exports and picture-perfect economic indicators lies a brutal truth. Some governments are deliberately pushing their currencies into decline to gain advantage, no matter the cost to their own people. This isn't just about economics, this is war. A war without bullets, but cold-blooded all the same. Here, money isn't just a tool of exchange, it's a weapon of manipulation that reshapes the destiny of nations. Now let's peel back every layer of the currency devaluation strategy, where power, morality, and truth no longer stand on the same side. The currency paradox. Why would anyone want a weaker currency? While millions hope for a stronger currency to afford more, governments quietly do the opposite. They manipulate exchange rates, triggering devaluation shifts that blindside their citizens. What seems irrational is actually a sharp weapon in the global trade war. A weak currency is not failure, it's a masked triumph. A calculated move full of cunning. This isn't accidental, it's intentional. The global financial system runs not on justice, but on interest. Nations that once manipulated currencies now point fingers at others for doing the same. The world doesn't forget. It simply pretends to be blind. One side accuses cheating, while the other calls it monetary reform. But the result is the same: imbalance orchestrated by those who preach morality. In the world of money, ethics are a luxury. When you realize that currency is a tool, not an ideal, you'll see that weakening it is not madness. It's a slow-burning bomb in an economic strategy. A strike deep enough to hurt rivals while maintaining peace on the surface. Currency manipulation isn't just policy, it's a silent declaration of war. Quiet, but ruthless. Those who understand this are the ones truly playing the power game. Devaluation is not depreciation. The trap of definitions. Don't confuse devaluation with depreciation. One is deliberate action, the other is a natural result. But in the linguistic game of finance, meanings get blurred. When a government claims market forces cause depreciation, be alert. They may be pulling strings behind the scenes. One central bank meeting can change a nation's economic destiny. This is the game of the powerful. The one who controls definitions wins. Monetary management sounds legal. Currency manipulation sounds criminal. But the line between the two is foggier than a free market morning. A country can justify rate control as macroeconomic stability, while the world might brand it cheating. Words are just cloaks covering the real aim: competitive advantage. And every time someone gets labeled, it's not about righteousness, it's about losing the game. The real question isn't who manipulates, but who gets to say someone is manipulating. The truth is, even dominant economies have used the same strategies, now preaching from pulpits. This is not about ethics, it's about power. When exchange rates become tools, the strong don't need rules. They just redefine the game. And in that definition trap, weaker nations are always the guilty ones. That's the global order disguised as fairness. Weaponizing prices, when exports become a silent war. The real aim of currency devaluation isn't national welfare, it's to maintain export competitiveness. Instead of improving product quality, some countries take shortcuts, lowering prices through their currency. It's a blade that cuts straight into global supply chains. In globalization's era, cheapness is lethal, and devaluation is how you strike without ever unsheathing your sword. If tariffs are a public punch, devaluation is a low blow. You don't see it coming, but when it lands, the impact is real. Countries don't need to declare trade wars. They just tweak exchange rates a few percent, and suddenly their goods outshine competitors. This is economic warfare in disguise, where the exchange board is a battlefield, and the winner is the one who manipulates undetected. Sadly, the benefits don't go to the people. They don't share in the export surplus. They just watch their wallet shrink while the government celebrates GDP growth. The harsh truth? Devaluation isn't about social fairness. It's about trade balance and global standing. A war where citizens are border guards, but the spoils go to the ruling class. Invisible tax. Imports become the hidden victim. When a currency weakens, all imported goods become more expensive. From fuel and electronics to food and medicine, everything turns into a luxury. This is an invisible tax aimed straight at citizens' wallets without any law or decree. No official has to announce tax hikes. Devaluation does the dirty work. It's a silent form of consumption suppression. Legal in form, but unjust in impact. Worse, the invisibility makes it immune from international lawsuits. No trade deal can accuse a nation of taxing imports because it's not written anywhere. But citizens still pay the price daily. When the car costs more, when cooking oil soars in price, who will explain? No one. Because no one wants to admit the government is taxing people through silence. What makes this tactic terrifying isn't its cunning, but its irresponsibility. It allows policymakers to tax without political consequences. No parliament debate, no public outrage. The burden quietly shifts onto consumers. Meanwhile, exporting corporations laugh all the way to the bank. The currency game is a gamble where the silent majority never wins. Debt deception. Paying public debt with shredded money. One of the oldest tricks in the book, use inflation to erode debt. When a currency loses value, the face amount of domestic debt stays the same, but its real value shrinks. This is how governments repay debt with shredded money. Borrow strong, repay weak. It sounds absurd, but it's legal. A financial sleight of hand performed at national scale. Who pays the price? The people. Savers. Wage earners. Those with fixed incomes never get a warning that tomorrow their cash will be worth less, but they feel it through pricier bread, gas, healthcare. Meanwhile, governments boast about reduced public debt. In reality, they're shifting the burden from fiscal spreadsheets to household expenses. A silent transfer of pain. If the debt is in foreign currency, this trick becomes a nightmare. A weaker local currency makes repayment in dollars more expensive, risking liquidity crises, shattered investor trust, even national default. This is when monetary policy turns double-edged. To save local obligations, leaders gamble the entire economy. A high-stakes move where the cost could be collapse. Systematic manipulation, the technical playbook. Currency doesn't weaken by accident, it's driven by a calculated machine. Step 1. Cut interest rates. Lower rates reduce a currency's appeal. Investors pull out, capital flees, the exchange rate dips. This tool operates like a war drum. The faster the cut, the louder the echo. No need for headlines. A quiet central bank meeting can change a country's fate. Next, print more money. Quantitative easing, as it's sweetly called. Central banks flood markets with new money, raising the money supply and boosting inflation. Result? A natural but orchestrated drop in currency value. A two-pronged strike. Stimulate consumption and make exports cheaper. All wrapped in a narrative of economic recovery. The final weapon, and the most direct, is intervention in the foreign exchange market. Governments use foreign reserves to buy or sell local currency, steering rates at will. This is economic theater. Support when needed, abandon when convenient. Each transaction worth billions can tilt the global balance. But who oversees it? No one. Monetary power moves outside legal oversight, naming the game, what's cheating and what's self-defense. When a country weakens its currency, rivals are quick to scream, cheating. Yet, if you rewind history, those same accusers have used the exact tactic to fix their own trade deficits. The truth is, no country's hands are clean in the currency game. Whether it's labeled manipulation or reform depends on who's holding the microphone. In the currency arena, guilt is relative. Power defines morality. And the hunted today could easily be the hunter tomorrow. There was a time when global powers sat at the same table and publicly agreed to devalue their currencies. When things got too difficult, even the loudest advocates for free markets embraced intervention. So where's the line between strategy and sin? It doesn't exist. In monetary policy, there are no sacred rules, only survival. Whoever wins defines what's fair. And fairness, like currency itself, is subject to manipulation. Currency isn't just a means of trade, it's a lever of geopolitical pressure. Devaluation is more than an export trick. It's a message to rivals. I'm ready to wreck value if you push me too far. It's a statement without a speech. In the great chessboard of economics, the one who controls the rise and fall of money writes the rules. And in this unspoken negotiation, honor is just a beautifully carved mask, easily removed when inconvenient. Currency wars, when everyone wants to be the weakest. When one country devalues to gain a trade edge, others don't sit still. They retaliate with the same tactic, and just like that, a currency war erupts. No gunfire, no front lines, but the damage is just as real. Everyone wants their goods to be cheaper than the next. Everyone wants to export more, so they all join the race to weaken their own currency. A conflict with no single enemy, only collective dissent. In the aftermath of financial crises, central banks across the world slashed interest rates, injected liquidity, and interfered in currency markets. The outcome? A global drop in currency values, not from weakness, but from design. When everyone devalues, no one wins. Competitive advantages vanish, trade relationships crumble, and what began as a strategy becomes a desperate spiral. This is no longer policy, it's organized panic, and panic breeds chaos. Currency wars produce no champions, only escape artists fleeing economic accountability. Instead of restructuring productivity or reforming domestic systems, governments take the shortcut. But where does that shortcut lead? Global inflation, fragile financial systems, shattered trade alliances, and worse, eroded trust. In a world where everyone wants to be the weakest to appear stronger, the one thing lost is belief. Belief in numbers, in leadership, in truth. Currency becomes noise, not value, consequences for the people. Growing poorer in silence. When governments deliberately weaken their currency, the people are the first to suffer. The prices of essential imports skyrocket. Fuel, food, medicine, everything becomes harder to afford. Meanwhile, wages stagnate. There's no official notice saying we are making you poorer, but citizens feel it every day. That daily cup of coffee costs more. Rent eats a bigger chunk of income. Inflation creeps in like a silent thief, and most don't even know they're being robbed. As currency loses value, the gap between the rich and the poor stretches wider than ever. The wealthy move assets into real estate, gold, and stocks, safe havens from inflation. But wage earners, living paycheck to paycheck, have no shield. They don't know how to hedge. They don't have the means to invest. They simply endure. The devaluation game is played at the top, but its pain is felt at the bottom, where silence is mistaken for consent. The irony is brutal. While export statistics shine and governments boast of economic victories, the quality of life for the average person declines. Its growth built on quiet sacrifice, a prosperity that doesn't trickle down. This is no longer just about exchange rates. It's about justice, about dignity, about how long a society can endure when its foundation, the everyday citizen, is eroded by policies dressed in the language of progress, but fueled by quiet exploitation. The naked truth? The currency isn't weak, it's being sold out. Currencies don't weaken by nature. They are pushed down, strategically, deliberately, for objectives the public is rarely told. This isn't the rhythm of economic cycles. It's design. A cold calculation masked as necessity. What once symbolized trust and prosperity is now auctioned off on the global chessboard. The currency isn't weak because the economy is weak. It's weak because someone hit the switch and didn't ask for permission. Currency manipulation isn't just a financial tactic. It's a mirror reflecting who truly holds power. When a few people behind closed doors can decide the fate of millions through a number on an exchange board, money no longer belongs to the people. It becomes a fortress for the elite. A weakened currency doesn't just boost exports, it exposes the rot in governance. It's not incompetence, it's intentional betrayal disguised as strategy. The real issue isn't whether money is strong or weak. It's who controls it and who pays the price. If currency is the lifeblood of an economy, then those manipulating its flow are deciding who lives and who sinks. A just society cannot survive if monetary policy becomes a weapon against the voiceless. When trust in money collapses, what follows isn't just financial ruin, it's the unraveling of national unity, dignity, and collective hope. A currency doesn't fall on its own, it is pushed, bent, and broken by hidden hands pursuing gain under the guise of policy. Devaluation isn't always a sign of weakness, it's often a calculated sacrifice. But who's being sacrificed? Not the elites, not the decision makers. It's the citizens who wake up to rising prices, shrinking wages, and dreams slipping out of reach. When money loses meaning, trust collapses. And when trust dies, so does the social contract. This is no longer about fiscal tools. It's about the fate of entire societies. Don't ask why your money buys less. Ask who made that decision, and for whose victory you were silently chosen to lose.